Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 61 of the Lunch Bunch Show. This is our last show of the regular season, so it's a bit of a Christmas plus party, and we're going to have lots of fun, and we want you to share your Christmas memories. What kind of memories that, trigger off these senses, the food, the music, and the movies, the family get-together, all those things. What does it mean to you? And what do you look forward to Christmas? And what do you not look so much forward to? For instance, Charles Dickens said in A Tale for Two Cities, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And he could have used that line in the Christmas Carol because for many people, it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. So we're going to be talking to the Lunch Bunch today and see what their times were like, what their Christmas times and Hanukkah times were like over the years, and get what memories they have, what kind of embarrassing moments they had, what's their favorite music, what's their favorite movies. So we're going to get started, and we're going to introduce everybody today. I want you to say hi to them, and we're going to start off with BL. BL, say hi.
Hi, everybody. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You want to say something about yourself?
Okay. I run a company called maximum-plus.com, and I help people produce live events on Google Plus and do digital strategy.
Great. Well, thank you lots. Jess.
Hello, I'm Jess Duell, and I'm excited for this time of year because it is my favorite time of the year. From from Halloween all the way to Groundhog's Day. This is like the time of year for me. So we get them all. And I am the CEO of Infusion Principle, where we work with leadership who want the impact of their work to extend beyond their company and into their communities.
Thanks a lot, Jess. And Randy, the man in black today. How you doing? Oh, you have to unmute.
I'm doing very well. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all those niceties. I'm glad to be here. It's been a good year with the Lunch Bunch, and it's exciting to have a Christmas show with everyone. What I do is I wrangle 3 little dogs around the area, and I'm trying to build a house. Outside of that, I do occasionally marketing stuff. So
I was going to say, besides being a marketer, you're a marketer / construction worker.
Yeah, that's right.
And a builder. Thanks a lot, Randy.
Yeah.
Scotty, how's it going?
Oh, it's going terrific. Scott, the Scott Treatment from Seattle, and people would be disappointed if I didn't mention that it's at least cloudy, if not raining. In Seattle, we always have a white Christmas, but you have to look up at the white clouds for it.
We missed the weather forecast last week, so thanks for bringing that back. I knew something was different, and I kept looking at the video trying to think, did I cut that out already? I didn't see it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
And we usually have a white Christmas in Montreal.
And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Vivek, how's it going? Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at the decorations here. He puts me to shame. How's it going, Vivek?
Yeah, it's Vivek is my name. VivekTechnology.com is my website, as you can see on my banner. And I simplify things. My tagline is integrate, simplify, life.
Thanks very much, Vivek. And if you don't keep those bells quiet, we're going to have to mute you.
Banging that head around, right?
Don't be nodding yes or no. Just yeah. Okay, so let's prime this conversation. So I'm, as I said earlier in the intro, basically that for many people, Christmas is they're torn between looking forward to it and then remembering things in the past that probably weren't so happy. And and we have the people who are humbugs, or Scrooge, and then the people who are the Christmas fairy. And I've sort of been known as the local Christmas fairy, no pun intended, for a very long time, because I totally get into it. As you can see, the office back here. I mean, this is my office. You haven't seen it upstairs yet. But it wasn't always that case. We grew up, I grew up in a very, very not poor, because everybody is poorer than we were. Not everybody, but there's a lot more poor people than I did. But we grew up in a very humble house, and we didn't have much. And most of our Christmases were basically thanks to the Salvation Army and thanks for charity organizations that would drop things off and would send the kids in the neighborhood to a big dinner. And that was, you know something, and that was, that as a child, I loved that. That was special because certainly I wasn't invited to a dinner somewhere, you know, any other day of the year. But when I got older and I left home and I just graduated from high school, it was different. I was very lonely. So what I did one year, and I know people who wish they could do this, just forget that Christmas exists. And what I did one year is that I did that. I come from Moncton, New Brunswick, and I went to Halifax. I hitchhiked there. My girlfriend had an apartment there, and she was visiting her father in Montreal. So it was all by itself. So I thought, okay, this is great. I'm just going to close the doors. I'm going to close the blinds and pretend that Christmas does not exist. I'm going to wait for it to, you know, sort of fly by, you know, like a plague of locusts. And I did that, and I have to tell you, it was the most loneliest and horrible Christmas I can ever remember. And that was that cured me. That cured me. I think it was after that I made a point, even if I was by myself or even if I was with somebody that didn't like Christmas or whatever else, I would celebrate Christmas because for me, the whole idea of Christmas is about hope because it comes at the very darkest point of the year. And for me, it's all about the lights. And if you have light, you have hope. So I'll do it. I'm going to celebrate Christmas. And some years I just go, oh my God, I can't go to the in-laws again this year, you know. But it's not about them. It's about me and how I feel. So that horrible Christmas made me the big Christmas fairy that I am. So there you go. That's my story. Okay, guys. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Put your bikes back on, and let's just jump in. Okay. So let's start with, let's go with childhood memories, because I mean Christmas is about kids, right? And I think that's where they're the most vivid. So I'm going to ask Jess first. What's her favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory has to be the fact that I don't even remember when this started, and it might have been occurring my whole life. We celebrate Christmas, and we would go to church, and after church, we would come home, and my dad would have made this onion dip or garlic dip. It was garlic dip, and it was some concoction recipe he made up all on his own, and it was the most delicious stuff. And we only got this dip like twice a year. It happened to be on Christmas and New Year, and we stunk until March because of this garlic dip. But it was so good. We would fight over who got to help make it, who got to lick out the bowl at the end, all of those different things. And then after we ate all that crazy dip that made us smell incredibly bad, we got to open one present, and we always got to pick which present it was. And it was kind of neat because we knew that there were presents from our mom and our mom and our dad and our family under there, but we knew they weren't Santa. We knew, and Santa came to our house, so we knew that Santa and Christmas magic hadn't arrived yet. So it was this weird place of, oh, I get a present, but Santa hasn't arrived yet. The magic of Christmas actually hasn't come, and so it was really neat in that respect. So the dip, I would say, it set it all off. The whole thing, the dip, yeah. Oh,
that's so funny. Garlic dip, really. I mean, I remember fighting to lick the icing bowl for cakes. Garlic dip. that's
to this day. I mean, you say that word garlic dip, and I will mention it to somebody, and everybody in my family will go make it because it's like, yeah, that is what it's all about.
Jess, do you have the recipe?
I will not share it. It is a family secret. Sorry.
You saw that coming a mile away.
I saw that coming, but I will make it for you if you guys ever visit. And you can go home and make the whole plane know exactly where you were.
Randy, it's your turn.
I think what Jessica said about this time of year, this is the time of year when I do get sentimental. I think Christmas is the most exciting day, and it's also the saddest day in the afternoon. It's this big hoopla, and then all of a sudden you look around and the toys are all unwrapped and the trees askew, and it's over with, but it's a big build-up, so it is the most exciting thing. But I'll tell you what solidified believing to me in the Jolly Fat Man was as a kid, I wanted this particular bicycle. And I got it, Christmas Day. There it was, beautiful bus. I remember, running in there, and it was exactly the one I wanted. It's perfect and everything. And I have an older brother, about 2.5 years older than I am. And the very next day, he said, "Hey, can I ride your bicycle?" Yeah, and he did. He rode it over to the little store, and unfortunately, he came home without it because it got stolen.
Oh, no.
And about 2 days later, there was a bicycle exactly like I wanted, back with a note from Santa saying, I made a special trip back to deliver this to you. And that's a memory that always kind of stuck. I mean, that's parents going above and beyond and making sure that those memories or those beliefs continue inside of a child's mind. I think the sad part to me today is you don't really see that a lot anymore. I mean, it's so commercialized that it's, you don't have that wish. But that's something that and we can go into foods and dips and whatever, but little things like that in my past, or a particular ornament that my mother would always say, "Hey, come here, this is that, remember this," when she would unwrap it and show it to me, are things that just are branded inside my brain, that that Christmas morning every year, those type memories just rush back in.
Well, that's a special story. That's amazing. That's lovely. Scotty.
Okay. Well,
Let's go back. Let's go way back.
Oh, you're going way back, a long time. It was before I was born. No, as you know,
when reindeer were still fawns. Yeah. Okay.
that was old when the Desi was still sick. Okay, I had to get that. I've been wanting to say that joke for a long time. People may know I grew up in Montana, Billings, Montana, which incidentally made national news twice within the last 24 hours. That's unusual. And it would snow, and we had a beautiful house that overlooked the valley, and we had our living room, which we hardly ever used. But on Christmas, there was the tree and those things. But my memory is Jess has her garlic sauce. I have boiled eggs. Because that was our tradition, is that we would have to sit down and eat the boiled eggs, and you had the egg cup, and you go But what made it especially a treat is that my big brother Jock just hated that, and it was just an anathema to him. But every year we insisted that we just had to have our boiled egg before we could go in and open Christmas presents and whatnot. And the kicker to the story is that when he got married, I took Jody aside and I said, incidentally, your Christmas tradition has to be that you have a boiled egg before you open the presents. And she agreed to it. So for thereafter, he had to live with that, because as his kid brother, I spoiled it. And then his son, Casson, is carrying on that tradition as well. Of course, we don't do that at all in our house.
Was that your family tradition, or was that something in Montana that people in Montana?
It was our family tradition. Don't ask.
Okay.
Okay, Vivek, you've got something you want to share with us.
Yeah, it's. I'm not quite sure whether it's a pleasant one, unpleasant one, whatever. But this happened a couple of years ago, closer to the festival that we celebrate, which is Diwali, and I wished one of my colleagues Happy Diwali. His response was, rather than respond in kind, he said, "I'm not a Hindu, I don't celebrate it." Okay, I said, fine, if that's the way you see it. Then when Christmas came, when he wished me, I didn't wish him back. I just looked at him and said, I wished you on Diwali.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Okay, BL, Hanukkah memory.
Well, I have one of my grandmother every year getting out her menorah, which I now have, And she would have gotten these special Hanukkah candles from Israel every year. And on the first night and every night, she would light the candles, and we'd get presents, because you get presents for 8 nights on Hanukkah when you're a kid, and you get money. The Hanukkah guilt, and and so I remember that. I remember, but I still, go out of my way to get the right kind of candles and to keep the menorah right and all of that. And it's just a really lovely memory. And this Saturday we're celebrating. My family is celebrating Hanukkah, so that will be lovely.
Did you go? Did your family have a Hanukkah tree?
I have had Christmas trees, but no, we don't.
It's because I think almost every Jewish friend I have has a Christmas tree. Because again, I don't think it's so much part of the decoration, right? And
so beautiful.
It is. It's brightness. We need brightness this time of year. Yeah. Super. Well, that was super interesting. Okay, we're going to go on now we're going to grow up. Like the Ghost of Christmas Past, we're going to grow up and ask you what your favorite adult or parent memory is. Okay, I'll ask Randy first.
Oh, as a parent, it would have to be seeing the glee in my daughter's eyes when she got old enough to recognize what Christmas was. But the favorite moment that involved that was. My daughter is the only grandchild of my parents, and naturally she was spoiled shitless. I mean, she just got everything that she wanted anytime she wanted. So Christmas was just another one of those big deals, But the local department store that we had at the time was called Gaffer's. Now it's Belk's. I think Belk's bought them out, but Gaffer's. And I grew up shopping in Gaffer's and things like that, and then here comes my daughter along, and she's in there unwrapping presents under a tree that is laden with everything with her name under it, and we all get like one little package. She gets everything, but she got into it so bad. This goes back to the commercialization that I was talking about. She'd rip the paper off the box, and she'd go, "Look, Ma, another gift from Gaffer's," which was the commercial for the show. She enjoyed that so much. They had that commercial running, but the boxes, my mother, it didn't matter where it came from. My mother kept those boxes, so she wrapped everything in Gaffer's boxes, right? So it was like, wham, look, another. And she wouldn't even open the box. She was just handing them to her mother. So that's something that we always talk about that.
I remember.
Now that she's in her 30s, I don't know that she likes talking about it that much, but it was something to laugh about at the time, and it still brings a smile to my face.
Well, speaking of commercialization, sorry, BL.
Go ahead.
Because as a parent, I mean, there's many, like Christmas when the kids are small is like so special, right? Because just that belief in their eyes, and you do whatever you can to make sure that they believe in Santa Claus as long as you can stretch it, right? But I remember one year, and what do you mean,
Ray?
This was oh yeah. I should have put nobody under 18 watching. This will date me, but in 1984, 83-ish, my daughter was born. Actually, if you follow me on Facebook, my profile photo is me with the newborn Erica, and that was at Christmas time because her birthday is actually tomorrow, and so that for me was my memory. But when she was a little bit older, a couple of years older, it was the big Cabbage Patch doll thing. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
Oh yeah.
I had them.
It was craziness, absolute craziness. But being my first daughter, I had to go to the store and get a Cabbage Patch doll. Well, you saw Black Friday. This looks like Black Friday with everybody wants Cabbage, but I didn't want just any Cabbage Patch doll. I wanted a red-haired one because she was red-haired. So anyway, to make it short, I basically wrestled with this middle-aged lady. and basically said, and I said, okay, listen, let's do a trade-off. I'll give you mine, Blondie. you give me the red head, and I'll give you one other gift item. So we negotiated the redhead Cabbage Patch doll. And when Erica saw it under the tree, it was like that doll was. They were inseparable for years and years. So that was my favorite moment with the kids.
Nice story. I have one with my nephew, and we decided that it would be fun to wait until he was just falling asleep, and then have one of the guys dressed as Santa kind of tiptoe into his room and stand at his crib and say, "Dave, it's me, Santa." But unfortunately, he was just sort of falling asleep, and unfortunately, it scared him.
Never want to see Santa Claus again in his life.
Screaming. Because there was this big guy in a red suit in his room over his crib. So that didn't work out that well.
Well, that could be frightening, yeah. I mean, Scotty.
Like a clown.
Well, I don't know if this is qualifies to answer your question exactly, but when I got married, we discovered that we were expected to spend all of our holidays at my mother-in-law's. I mean, every holiday. And it occurred to us very quickly that we would never get our own Christmas traditions. So we came up with a great idea, and that is that we always celebrated Christmas the day after Christmas. So we'd wake up Christmas, going over to grandmother, we'll go over to mother-in-law's, all of that, and then the next morning we would wake up and we'd have our champagne and our, boiled eggs, except for we didn't boil them, and all of that, and that was a terrific Christmas holiday and Christmas memory that I have.
Did you just say, I'm not sure if I misheard, did you just say you had boiled eggs but you didn't boil them?
Well, in fact, that's true. we cooked them up differently.
Then they're not boiled eggs.
Well, I mean, you can scramble them.
Okay, sorry.
Eggs have nothing to do with it. The point is that we had two Christmases
out of you.
I didn't want to get to food yet because we have another whole section on that kind of stuff. But I saw that Pamela has a thing about potato latkes, which I love. So check it out on the comment thread.
We're having potato latkes on Saturday. My sister makes them. She gets up at 5 in the morning and starts shredding the potatoes, and then we all get there and we have them. I can't wait.
Oh, I adore them. So let's get on to the next question. So, okay, what's your
embarrassing Christmas moment? I have one.
Never had one.
I haven't had one.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Okay, well, BL, she's just raring a bit to go on this one.
Yeah, okay. When I first got married, I didn't know the first thing about how to cook. My mother would never let me in the kitchen. I didn't even know how to boil water. And we
or
had
eggs.
Or an egg. I couldn't do anything. And we had decided to have my in-laws over for dinner. And and I dropped the roast on the floor. As I was bringing it into the kitchen, and I just picked it up, put it on the plate.
3-second rule, that works.
Did anybody see you drop it?
No, nobody saw me drop it, but I didn't know how long it took to cook potatoes, so I thought they would take about the same as the roast, and they don't. They take longer. So and they were raw, and my mother-in-law, the most tactful person on earth, said, "This is how we always eat potatoes, al dente." And they ate them.
Oh, that's great.
That's beautiful. That's amazing.
That's wonderful. So you don't have one, James? Anyone else have an embarrassing moment? Okay, I'll share you mine. I don't want to hog the screen here, but it's not. It's when I was a child, and so going to an Irish Catholic school, Christmas was a very big thing. So we'd be cutting out Christmas angels and snowflakes and listening to Bing Crosby, every day for like a whole week. But we would also every year have a Christmas play or pageant. So I love the stage, so I was always in them. And one particular number that I did, I think it was Sunny of Sunnyside. So we were kind of like these traveling performers. And I guess I would have been about 8 years old. And so my thing was we had hula hoops. and we had to do different things with the hula hoops. So my specialty, and it worked really well in rehearsal, was that I would do the hula hoop around my neck, right? So with the music, the hoop would go around my neck, and next door to me, the person would have their waist, and the other person would have his arm, and all that. And it was like very Cirque du Soleil. Okay, so it was anyway. So come the show time, I said, well, it's in the church basement, and we have it's packed, and our priest is in the front, and we all get dressed up the best we can, and I have a bow tie. And it's a lovely bow tie, but we didn't have bow tie in rehearsals. So I start twirling my hula hoop, and the bow tie now is going around my neck, and it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and my face is getting redder and redder, and I'm starting to, the adrenaline, so you don't really feel it, but I do feel kind of like, it's snug. And I see the priest and the other people in the front row starting to look really concerned, and I had no idea why. and I kept going, and all of a sudden I felt like little stars, and they rush up on stage and they grab me because I was like red as this hat, So that was very embarrassing for me as a young kid, because that was my whole career went down the tubes. That was it. No more Broadway for me.
Oh my God, that's awful.
but it makes a good story.
I have lots of those. When we do a showbiz thing, I have lots of those stories. Okay, so let's get into the holiday stuff, and we don't have much time, so let's zoom past this. So, holiday. What triggers the most robust memory? Let's start with music. Let's just go down the line. We'll start with BL.
Oh, the dreidel song. You sing about the. I can't do it.
And okay. Well, I won't push you. Okay, but that obviously from your childhood and on. That's part of your past.
Yeah.
Jess.
Anything the Little Drummer Boy.
Any version?
Any version. I actually have most of them. We have a Little Drummer Boy channel in our Sonos.
Really?
Yes.
What do you think of the Bing Crosby and Dave Bowie thing?
That's actually one of my favorites. Anytime you can put two together like that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was a very early mashup.
Yep.
All right, Randy.
I'm gonna say Little Drummer Boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, actually, not all that surprising because it is very, very, very popular. What about secular music?
I don't really get into that. The old Christmas songs and things like that were spurring to me, but we didn't. I just have to say we didn't really have the music in our house. The Little Drummer Boy was like one of these things that popped, because I think when it came out, and at the time when I was young and seeing it on TV and all that, it just stuck with me. So it's that's the one that's just burned into me.
In mine, it's all about the hope piece that Randy was talking about earlier. If we have something that just by our being that we like to do makes somebody else smile and gives them a reason to be here, that is something that I can use, and I carry that all year long.
Thank you. Scott.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's the first album I put on every year. I put that one on, and then I put Oscar Peterson's Christmas, and then after that it's a free-for-all. I put it's Christmas 24/7 in our house. So that's great. No, I love that. I love that album. Mine, and funny you guys should say Drummer Boy, because actually it's the Little Drummer Boy, the album by the Living Voices, which actually made it the hit when it first came out. It was the #1 hit for like years and years. But the whole album is very Christmassy, and it's one of my favorite albums. And there's gazillions that I love, but I would have to say that's the one that evokes the most memories, because we used to play that when we used to decorate the theater for Christmas, and have lots of fun singing along to it. Movie.
Christmas Story.
I just watched it last night.
It had to be a Christmas Story, but I've kind of transcended to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, because everybody needs a Cousin Eddie.
Well, I don't know if we need one, but we usually have one.
No, you need him. It brings you back to earth. It brings you to reality. You kind of look around and go, "Shit, it ain't that bad."
I have a music one. I listen to Bela Fleck's Christmas album, and he is the greatest banjo player on earth, and he has a Christmas album that is so beautiful.
Oh, okay. I don't know that
Okay.
one. Write that down in the comments, and we'll pick that up. Movie, Jess.
My favorite movie, I don't know if I have a favorite Christmas movie, but the one that I always look forward to watching is the 24-hour repeat of the Christmas Story, the Thanksgiving Day. So I can watch the whole movie in 24 hours, over and over and over again, or I can catch 15 minutes here and there and see the whole movie by the end of the day.
Okay, when you say the
Either
Christmas Story, do you mean the Red Ryder BB gun one?
The Red Ryder BB gun
okay.
one. That's
okay.
right.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Scott.
Okay, White Christmas with Danny Kaye and Bing Crosby, because in college I always wanted us to say boy, girl, and that's a scene out of the movie. So I'd say
I
just
love
like
that
a White
movie.
Christmas.
That's
Yeah.
also Wade's. Hi, Wade. He just said White Christmas and the movie. White Christmas. We take that DVD with us to our in-laws every year when we go to Christmas, and it's a Christmas Eve tradition. Totally, I love the Technicolor. It's a fabulous movie. But my favorite movie, which is something that not too many people will know, is called One Magic Christmas with Mary Steenburgen and this bizarre angel. Harry Dean Stanton plays Gideon the angel. And what I like about it is that it's very down to earth. It's not a big, Hollywood family. It's a small town, and they work really hard. It's just a down-to-earth kind of good Christmas story. So check it out, One Magic Christmas, if you can. And we're down. I know we're over, but hey, it's the holidays. Food. Let's talk food. Who wants to start? Besides, we already had the garlic. Yep. If you have another one, Jess, go ahead. But
anything potatoes. We used to, our Christmas dinner and our Thanksgiving dinner and our New Year's dinner had at least 4 different kinds of potatoes. And typically across the events, there was very little overlap of the types of potatoes we would have.
Okay, potatoes.
Kielbasi. My father-in-law would make kielbasi for us at Christmas with cabbage and the whole big meal, but that kielbasa was just incredible. You had to get it in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Oh, wow. Because my stepfather, when I was growing up, he was from Saskatchewan and Ukrainian. And the kielbasa was really, really big, really popular. Randy.
There's so many foods at Christmas, Thanksgiving and Christmas. We all talk about that, but there's so many smells and things like that at Christmas that you enjoy so much. But one of the things I like the most is my mother's dressing, and she makes that, and then for Christmas, when she makes that, she puts oysters in it, which I'm just a fanatic about oysters in any form. But that's just something to me that I'm like, this is the one big treat a year that you get, outside of that sweet potato souffle that'll make you slap your mother. But that's what I like, is the oysters, and then we do oyster roast and things. So it's kind of coming from the Gulf Coast. We bring a lot of seafood into our food.
Oh, excellent. Super. Scott?
Stilton cheese.
What? What's with you and Jessica? Stilton cheese and garlic. What is this? You guys like vampires or what?
Well, at one point, someone gave us my dad would always get a round. What do you mean, vampire? My dad would get a round of Stilton cheese.
A very stinky Christmas is the best time. Okay, go ahead.
And I associate Stilton cheese because after a few years, Aaron would buy a round of Stilton cheese for me for Christmas, and it was my favorite gift. It's very
nice.
thoughtful.
That's very cool.
That's very
I hope
cool.
it was kept in the refrigerator until Christmas.
In a separate
Yeah,
refrigerator.
it was. Oh, come on. Just giving me a bad time.
Vivek, did you have anything? Food-wise? No? We had, speaking of potatoes, because again, down home, it's all about potatoes. We have an Acadian dish called poutine râpé, and I don't know if we have any Acadian people or Cajun people in the audience, but it was a full day thing. It was every Christmas. We would grate potatoes, a bushel. I mean, it was ridiculous. And you would take that, and then you would take some mashed potatoes, even more potatoes, and then you take some salt pork and stuff. And what you would do is you make a dumpling. So you make a dumpling, and you fill it with the salt pork, and you slow boil it for a few hours, and you'd have these amazing, yummy, big potato dumplings on your plate. And and people would have it if you're grown up with salt usually, but I'd have it with sugar, or you can have it with molasses or whatever. Anyway, that's the big Christmas thing down home, is poutine râpé. And I confessed earlier in the green room, I love fruitcake. How many of you guys like fruitcake? Everybody, fruitcake, make sure you +1 down there.
I was gonna say, go for the fruitcake, and if you haven't seen last week's Grimm, it's a good one to watch about fruitcake specifically.
Oh yes, I did watch
Grimm
it.
is one of my favorite shows, and I happened to be caught up on all of the episodes, and that was a hilarious one where there's a purpose for fruitcake.
And that totally brought back the Gremlins, which is another Christmas movie. Okay,
Yeah.
so we are so out of time. We were like 5 minutes over, but this was like so much fun. I didn't want to let it go. And we didn't even hit the smells. Well, now we kind of did with the Stilton and the garlic.
Christmas trees.
Well, that's it. I think for everybody, when we talked in the green room, it was Christmas tree smells.
Absolutely.
Christmas tree and nutmeg. To me, those are like Christmas, you know.
Christmas cookies.
And if you don't have a
baking.
Christmas tree, go get some Lysol pine scent and spray that around.
Or get one of those ones that hang in the mirror on the car. No. Anyway, thanks everybody. This is lots of fun. We wish you a very happy holiday. Happy Hanukkah tonight, first night, and happy holidays for everyone else, and a happy New Year. This is the last regular show for the year, and we'll see you in the new year, and we may have a special between now and then. Scotty and I had talked about it, and we'll see what we can put together. Anyway, thanks. Lots of fun. Leave your Christmas memories in the comments, and bientôt. Bye-bye.